Hello, everyone. Welcome to TV Oblivion. As you heard before, there's the Clickety Clack theme song, and I'm your host, Pete Costanas. This is episode 4, season 1. Today's date is June 11th, and today I have a very interesting show. And TV Oblivion, I discuss TV programs that are largely largely forgotten and rarely syndicated. And sometimes they were hits. Some of them were hits back then. Some were not. So it's like a whole potpourri of that. Okay. So thank you for joining me today. Right now, the program will go into a commercial break. This program is brought to you by All Detergent with Borax, and it's from the 1960s. And the woman that's speaking in the commercial, I won't give away, but I will reveal it after. You might recognize her voice immediately. If you don't, well, that's okay. But it's kind of fun. So here we go.
Today I changed my first tire. Good thing I'm an expert on how to get rid of dirty stains and put Dazzle where the stain was. I use New All now with bleach, borax, and brighteners. Watch. The bleach and borax lift out the stains. Brighteners splash on Dazzle. See, stains gone, but Dazzle's on. All clean with New All with bleach, borax, and...
Okay, everyone, I am back. Excuse me. I hope you enjoyed that commercial for All Detergent with Borax. The woman that is in the commercial was none other than Lily Tomlin. Wonderful actress, wonderful comedian. I loved her. And this is right before she got discovered. She did a couple commercials, and then she starred in a TV series called The Music Scene. It was on ABC, and then they hired her on Laugh-In in December 1969. And Ernestine made her TV debut with a telephone operator. You know, one ring a ding, and the rest was history. Oh, she's fascinating. I love her. I run a Facebook group of Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. It's the official one, and I don't post much because I've been busy, but I love that show. It's my second favorite after I Love Lucy. I remember watching it when I was little. I was fascinated by the colors, the dancing, the comedians. I have the show. It's on DVD now, the entire series, and I've watched it about twice. It's still funny. Yeah, it's a little dated at times, but that's okay. I love seeing the clothes and with the catchphrases. And I have a couple members in the group, none other than Ruth Buzzy. She's in there. And I think Goldie Hawn, she's aware of it. And I think Lily Tomlin. And there are some people that work behind the scenes. There's a couple of them. They're in the group too, and they contribute their memories and photos of that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I love the show. I don't have a Twitter account. Maybe I should create one. Well, we'll see. I'll think about it. And so I'm glad you enjoyed the commercial. Okay. On today's episode, I will talk about each show from each decade, like I did the past two podcast episodes. I did, but I'm going to put the theme songs of the shows. I didn't do that on the last two. Maybe I should have, but we'll see. Maybe I'll add one from the shows in future episodes. We'll see about that. And all right, from the late 40s, I will talk about Texaco Star Theater. That was a biggie. The 1950s, My Little Margie. From the 1960s, Ensign O'Toole. 1970s, Temperature Rising, or is it Temperatures Rising? 1980s, Matt Houston. 1990s, The Flash. And in the 2000s, Good Morning, Miami. If there's not enough time to squeeze in, I'll do what I can, but I think it'll be okay. We'll see. I'll let you know in the future episode. Okay. First one we will talk about is Texaco Star Theater, and that was one of the biggest variety shows ever at the time. And it was hosted by Milton Berle, but he was not the original host. I'm not sure who it was, but they had about six of them when it premiered. Okay, and it premiered on June 8th, 1948, and it was on the radio before, and It was aired on from 1940 to 1944, and it was hosted by Fred Allen. He was a funny comedian. He was a rival to Jack Benny, but he didn't do much television. He died in 1956, but he was on What's My Line then. I've seen reruns of that. He was a funny man. I loved him. And some of the hosts, I will mention who hosted it. Was a rotation. It was not just Milton Berle. It was Maury Amsterdam from the Dick Van Dyke Show, and other people that you don't recognize. So I won't mention them. And the roots of the Texaco Star Theater was from the 1930s, and it was Ed Wynn, who was Keenan Wynn's father, and he was the perfect fool, and he did vaudeville and music, old-fashioned stuff. And but he had some personal problems, and the show ended in 1935. And then they continued that with Eddie Cantor, and then Fred Allen took over. And now the television show, it aired on NBC. Like I said, it debuted in June 8th, 1948. And the second season, Milton Berle took over full time. Okay, so I'm going to play the jingle of Texaco Star Theater. This is a sponsor jingle, so if you hear this, you would know this right away. A lot of people remembered it. So here we go. Have fun.
Oh, we're the men of Texaco. We work from Maine to Mexico. There's nothing like this Texaco of ours. Our show tonight is powerful. We'll wow you with an hour full of howls from a shower full of stars. We're the merry Texaco men. Tonight we may be showmen. Tomorrow we'll be servicing your cars.
Okay, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed that little jingle for Texaco Star Theater. All we're the men from Mexico, not Mexico, Texaco. Can't say it. So it was, like I said, it was very popular. They had some wonderful guest stars. They had music, comedy. After those men from Texaco finished the jingle, they introduced the host, which is Milton Berle, and he always came out in some crazy costume. One time he came out as Cleopatra. He dressed as a woman. He was the ugliest woman I ever seen. All kinds of stuff. It was hilarious. I loved it, And his wife was featured there. Her name was Ruth. And so he had he had some supporting cast members. One was Arnold Stang. He was famous for the voice of Top Cat, a 1961 TV series, if you remember that. And so when that premiered, it did become popular. And right before Milton Berle hosted, it was comedian Jack Carter, if you remember him. He did that for a little while. And when the second season premiered with Milton Berle, the ratings hit the roof, as high as 80% on Tuesday nights. So that was a must-see TV at that time, and a lot of people didn't own televisions back then. Not many. If you want to watch television, you would go to a TV shop, and they had them on display, and you would watch that. People were standing outside, or if you didn't have one, you would ask your neighbor, "Can I come over and watch?" And usually they let you. Yeah, they did, but because they were kind of expensive back then, but then it grew and grew and grew. Now everyone has one in the world. And I've heard when the show was airing, nobody went to the bathroom. It's like the plumbing, stopped. That's according to urban legend. I think it's true. And it was so in 1950 through 51, the television, it was the highest rated show ever. It really was. And I remember there's one skit when Milton Berle would scream "makeup," and somebody would bring out a big powder puff and slap him in the face. I mean, huge. It went boom. It was funny like that. You can still see episodes on YouTube. There's a few that are full length. some clips. So it's very some is kind of corny, but I loved it. It's fine. Then Texaco dropped its sponsorship in 1953, and then Buick, the car, became the new sponsor, and and they changed it from the Texaco Star Theater to the Buick Burrell Show. And then 2 years later, it changed to the Burrell Show, and it ended in 1956. And but Milton Burrell signed like a huge contract. I think about like 30 years or something like that. That was shrewd. He did that, and but he continued to act and perform. And like in the 50s and 60s until almost the day he died. So he was funny. I love that man. You know. So that was, and I used to see kind of reruns when I was growing up a little bit, and it was interesting to watch. I don't know, I couldn't take my eyes off of him. So that's Texaco Star Theater. Okay, next up, I'm gonna talk about My Little Margie from the 1950s, and that premiered on June 16th, 1952. It was a summer replacement for I Love Lucy. When went off the air. Sometimes I Love Lucy show reruns. It depends, but this took over, and it was sponsored for the same. They had the same sponsor as I Love Lucy had, the Philip Morris cigarettes. Called for Philip Morris. And then that was for 2 seasons. But then when it moved to NBC, first it was aired on CBS, and then the Scott Paper Company became the sponsor. It was also on radio, and with the same leads. I'll get into that in a second. And it ran from December 1952 to August 55, but there are only 23 radio broadcasts existed. I guess they were erased or couldn't find. So the show starred Gail Storm and Charles Farrell. She played Margie, and Margie Albright, excuse me, set in New York City, and her father, Charles, that was Vern Albright. Charles Farrell played him. He was a silent screen star. Did a lot of silent movies back then. They lived in a hotel called the Carlton Arms, and they had some good supporting cast. He had his bosses. Margie had her boyfriend Freddie Wilson, and there was Mrs. Odetts. She was like her Ethel of Lucy, and I watched this show in the 70s, 80s reruns. I thought it was funny. I loved the show, and Gail Storm was endearing. I heard she's a wonderful singer. She really was. And so here is the theme song for My Little Margie. I hope you can enjoy it. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for My Little Margie. The show ran for 4 seasons, and there was 126 episodes. And then when the show ended, Gail Storm later starred in the Gail Storm Show, and it was originally titled "Oh Susanna," and her partner was Zazu Pitts. She was in a lot of movies, early silent movies, and she was. They showed this series on Channel 32 in Chicago. They had like 50s, like marathon. They showed all that, and I liked it. It was a good show, and so it was like fun. Gail Storm later. She didn't act much after that. She was a good singer, as I mentioned, and she she had an alcohol problem later on. But the last thing I saw her was on an episode of Love Boat, and she was great. She looked wonderful. She really did. And then she passed away on June 27th, 2009. She was 87 years old. Uh, yeah, she was so gifted and all that. She was in a movie, Fifth Avenue. It happened in Fifth Avenue or something like that. It was with Don DeFore, as famous as George Baxter from Hazel. And she was good in that movie. I like that. And she had a hit song, "I Hear You Knocking," which hit number 2 on the Billboard charts in 1955. So, yeah. So you can still watch episodes on YouTube. It's on DVD. I think the first 2 seasons, I believe, or any public domain. So you can catch a couple of episodes. I've watched a few. It's funny. Okay. Next up, I will talk about in the 1960s, and it's a sitcom called Ensign O'Toole. And this aired from, let's see, September 23rd, 1962. And it ended May 5th, 1963. And it starred Dean Jones. And he's famous for some of the Disney movies, like the Ugly Duckson and I think The Love Bug. Yeah, I think so. And one of my favorite movies, That Darn Cat, with Haley Mills. I have it on DVD. I still watch it all the time. It's hilarious because I don't know, they had a lot of good cast, so it's a good movie. And the plot of the show is Ensign O'Toole, played by Dean Jones. He was aboard the fictional destroyer, the USS Appleby. And it was in the Navy, and there was like all kinds of crazy plots with that. But the supporting cast was very interesting, so I'll read off who it is. It's J.C. Flippin, Jack Mulaney. I think he starred It's About Time. That's another show I'll talk about in the future. Jack Albertson, famous for in Chico the Man. Harvey Lembeck, you remember him from the surf movies in the 60s. And believe it or not, Beau Bridges starred in that show. That's one of his early roles, starring roles. He used to star with his father on Sea Hunt with Lloyd Bridges, like that. And this only ran for a year. I never saw it, but it was based on 2 books. One was called All the Ships at Sea in 1950, and the other one was Ensign O'Toole and Me from 1957. The author's name was William Lederer, I think I pronounced, and he was a consultant of the series, so that's good. And it premiered on NBC, like I said, 32 episodes, so it lasts 1 year, and then it went to TV Oblivion. It was gone. So I have the theme song of the show if you want to listen. So here it is. Enjoy Ensign O'Toole. Thank you. Okay, everybody, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for Ensign O'Toole. A couple things before I get to the next show. Dean Jones, he died in September 1st, 2015. One of his last roles was he played a doctor in Beethoven with Charles Grodin. That came out in 1992. I love that movie. It's funny. So, yeah, he was a wonderful man. Very funny, and he was talented, very talented indeed. So that's good. It's a shame. He was wonderful. Okay, next show I'm going to talk about is from the 1970s, called Temperatures Rising. This one's interesting. It really is. And they had aired on ABC from September 12th, 1972 to August 29th, 1974. Ran for 46 episodes, and it had 3 different formats, and a lot of cast members came and went. And that was developed by William Asher, husband of Elizabeth Montgomery from Bewitched, and it was set in a fictional Washington D.C. hospital, and it starred James Whitmore. He was the chief of staff, and Cleavon Little, wonderful man. Yeah, he's and the 3 nurses were Joan Van Ark, famous for Knots Landing, Reva Rose, she's a very famous character actress, still alive. Also Nancy Fox, and that didn't do very well in the first season, so they retooled it. They fixed it. So in the second season, James Whitmore was replaced. I heard he didn't want to do this anymore, and he was replaced by Paul Lynde. Can you see James Whitmore, very distinguished actor, and then you have Paul Lynde. He make you crack up. Oh, it's funny. And the show was retitled "The New Temperatures Rising Show," and it had a new supporting cast. It was Sudie Bond, Barbara Casson. She's famous for Carter Country, if you remember that show. Jennifer Darling, which she was in $6 Million Man and the Bionic Woman. I remember that. Jeff Morrow and John Denner. Jeff Morrow only's lasted about 2 episodes like that. So there was the only person that stayed was Cleavon Little. He stayed. He's a very charismatic actor. I liked him. I remember him from his appearance on All in the Family, where he played a burglar. He broke into Archie Bunker's house. And his partner was Damon Wilson, famous for Sanford and Son. And then he probably got hired for that. And that ran about 13 episodes, and then it was placed on hiatus. It wasn't canceled. It happened in January 1974. Then that was William Asher didn't produce it at the second format, but he returned for the third. This is the third. And the third one came back in July, and it came back from the original format of the show. And Cleavon Little stayed, Paul Lynde stayed, the rest were gone. And there was another actress, Barbara Rucker. She came in, and Nancy Fox returned from the first format. But it ran about 7 episodes, and then it was canceled. It was gone. So I remember the show. I remember watching the show on Channel 7 WLS. It was funny. I liked that. Didn't catch on. I remember the promos. So here is the theme song of the show. I hope if you remembered it. I did. So it was had a good cast. It was fun. So here it is. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the intro of Temperatures Rising. Cleavon Little was a very talented actor. He died very young. He died on October 22nd, 1992. He was 53 years old. That's a shame. He's famous for his role in Blazing Saddles. And they wanted Richard Pryor to play the role as Sheriff Bart, but he was taking drugs at the time, so they didn't depend on that. So, and he was wonderful. I remember watching the movie. I saw it in the theater at Fort City. So everyone's laughing and all that. And I remember the scene where I think it was him. I'm sure. I haven't seen the movie in a long time where he punches a horse and he falls down with the guy on it. Oh, I love that. Okay, so that's enough for Temperatures Rising. Next up, we're going to talk about from the 1980s. That's Matt Houston, and it was about a wealthy oilman who became but he had, as a side job, he was a private investigator. Classic 70s detective shows. Remember that? And it was played by Lee Horsley. And this ran for 3 years, 69 episodes, and it premiered on September 26, 1982, ended July 19th, 1985. And the rest of the cast was Pamela Hensley. I remember from Marcus Welby, MD. John Apray. I think I remember him from Knots Landing. And there was, on the third season, Buddy Ebsen was added. He played his Uncle Roy. And there was one episode that I remember watching was where they got Max Baer, who played Jethro, his nephew, in one episode, and they were reunited. And that was cool. I like that. That was a fun episode. I like that. And the plots were, usual murder, theft, and the funny thing about this, he had a lawyer sidekick that was played by George Weiner. He was a very famous character actor, and he had an Apple III computer. Apples were not just like the iMacs today, but it contained, it was named Baby, and it contained all the data and contained a database of all the living people and the deceased people. So he was like, if you needed information, you would go to him. So yeah, I remember watching this show. It was fun. I think it was on Friday nights sometimes, and it was fun to watch. Okay, so here is the intro of the show of Matt Houston. Enjoy, everybody. Okay, everybody, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for Matt Houston. About Lee Horsley, he started other TV shows. First one was Nero Wolf. I think that was with William Conrad, I believe, and Paradise. And I think he started with Linda Carter from Wonder Woman. Okay, and so after that, he didn't record. He didn't much did acting. So I guess he just retired, or he's just relaxing. so that's good. But hey, he's a charming man. He really was. I liked him a lot. Okay. Next up, 1990s, The Flash. Now, there is a Flash show that's on the CW, but that starred, can't think of his name. And let's see. So I'll get to that. So, Grant Gustin, excuse me. Had a brain fart. Anyway, so The Flash, this is from the 1990s, and it premiered September 20th, 1990, ended May 18th, 1991. It starred John Wesley Shipp as Barry Allen, also Amanda Pays and Alex Desert. I think it's Desert. And this was a cool show, and I remember the promos, and I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait for that. This because they created the show because after when Batman premiered in the theaters in 1989, it starred Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson as Batman and the Joker. So they want to create a show with the Flash, and I'm glad they did. It was a cool show. I love it. And the plot was Barry Allen was a forensic scientist. He worked for the Central City Police, and he was in his laboratory, and he got struck by lightning, and he got doused with chemicals in there. And then he developed these powers, and he was fast, very fast. Also had a voracious appetite. He ate a lot of pizza and a lot of food. Oh my God. And he never gained weight, because his metabolism was crazy. And his supporting cast, there was Tina McGee, that was played by Amanda Payne. She tried to help him. She worked at Star Labs. And the others was there were his boss, Lieutenant Garfield, and Julio Mendez. Okay. And I remember watching this show. I loved it. It's the theme song. So I'm going to play that now. And then when I come back, I will talk about how come the show didn't last and what happened. Why it didn't last. So here's the theme song from The Flash. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song from The Flash. Oh, I love it. That was good. I'll get back to the plot. Well, I explained the plot, but most of the episodes he dealt with criminals. But The Flash, according to DC Comics, he had the best rogues gallery, best villains. They didn't start using them in the beginning. I don't know why. Maybe that was part of the problem why it didn't become so successful. But then they started adding it, and let's see. I wonder who the first one was. Let's see that. They used only 3. There was the Mirror Master, Captain Cold, and the Trickster. So that was 3 of them. And let's see. Oh, yeah, okay, so here we go. The first one was the Trickster. That was played by Mark Hamill. Oh, wonderful man. I love him. And he played a crazy serial killer with multiple personalities. But in the comics, he wasn't that devious or, sadistic like that. And he had a sidekick called Prank. That was her name. And he played Mark Hamill played that role beautifully, and he's also the voice of the Joker on the Batman the anime series. That's great. There's part of his laugh, part of his like that, and it's wonderful. I can't believe it's him. He wore that costume just like in the comics. So he played tricks on the Flash and all that. That was a wonderful episode. I remember that. That aired in February 7th, 1991. Also, the next villain was Captain Cold, and he had that cold gun, and that was Leonard Snart, and that was played by Michael Campion. That was the actor. And the third one was Mirror Master, which in the comics is his number 1 villain. and it was Sam Scudder. That was his name, and that was portrayed by David Cassidy. I thought he was good in that. He didn't wear the costume like that, so I'm glad they added that. And so at the last episode, the Trickster came back and he tried to get revenge on Flash, and I remember that, and that was fun. Oh, so that was good. And the show did okay, but it was against the Cosby Show with Bill Cosby, and that's a juggernaut at the NBC network. So only lasted a year, but I heard it was expensive. But according to sources, if they continue with the second season, they were going to add more villains. I think they're going to add Gorilla Grodd and the Weather Wizard. So, and it's been released on VHS, DVD, and I have it on DVD. I watch it once in a while. It's a good show. I like that. And John Wesley Shipp played Barry Allen beautifully. It was wonderful. And then the other series, The Flash, premiered in 2014 on the CW. First, I think it was the WB. No, it's CW. And John Wesley Shipp appeared on that. He played Barry Allen's dad. And then he plays Jay Garrick, the Golden Age Flash. So he does make appearances like that. I saw him at a comic book convention. I didn't talk to him, but he was there. I was going to ask him about The Flash. He looked pretty good, And I still watch the new Flash. Well, it's not new anymore. It's been on for years. And it's still going. But they show all the villains, all the rogues. So thank God for that. And so it's good entertainment. If you're a big fan of DC Comics and the Flash, this show is for you. But sometimes fans are jaded, spoiled. Okay. Next up, this is our last one. This is from the 2000s. It's Good Morning Miami. This was a sitcom. It premiered September 26, 2002, ended December 18th, 2003. It only ran for 2 seasons. And it was from the producers from Will and Grace, David Cohan and Max Muchnick. Thank you. And the show centered around the personal and professional life of Jake. That was his name. And it was portrayed by Mark Feuerstein, very good actor. And he was the executive producer of a low-rated morning show in Miami, Florida. And here's a little trivia about the show. It's one of the first series that it broadcast in high definition, HD. That's when it came out. A lot of them didn't start doing that. And so the supporting cast was Ashley Williams, Matt Letcher. He played Reverse Flash on the second series of Flash. Jerry Burns, Constance Zimmer, Tessie Santiago, Brooke Dillman, and Suzanne Plachette, who played his mom. Oh, I love her. And, they had the usual plots and all that. It was okay rating-wise. And then let's see. So it ran for 2 seasons, and there was some behind-the-scenes goings-ons. I think the producers wanted to sue somebody, some production. So I don't know the whole story. So they canceled that on December 18, 2003. They had 9 shows that did not air. They didn't show on NBC. And then, but there were 3 episodes later shown in the United Kingdom. I don't know if it's on I don't think it's on DVD. I don't think so. So right now I'm going to play the theme song, if you remember it. Here is Good Morning Miami.
Keep on moving, there's no life waiting. You take your chances on the game you're playing. Oh, you know you found the one you really need. 'Cause you know when it comes down once in a lifetime. Oh, when it comes round once in a lifetime. Oh, it comes round once in a lifetime, yeah.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the theme song for Good Morning Miami. And let's see, Mark Feuerstein has a very interesting career. He starred in a lot of TV shows. He appeared on The West Wing. His famous show was called Royal Pains, and that aired on the U.S. network from 2009 to 2016. That was his famous role. And because other shows, he started another show called Conrad Bloom. That didn't last long. That was on NBC. But this show, Royal Pains, aired for 8 seasons, so that's great. That's good for him. He's a very talented man. Very charming like that. So yeah, he's still acting to this day, so that's good. And so now Good Morning Miami is another 2000 show that went bye-bye. TV oblivion. Okay, so that is all for the show for today. I discussed Texaco Star Theater, My Little Margie, Ensign O'Toole, Temperatures Rising, the Matt Houston, The Flash, and Good Morning Miami. So this show ran a little long, about 40 minutes. So if you have time to listen, great. This is the longest I ever done. So, but thank you for joining me for TV Oblivion. Next episode will be coming up soon, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Do the same format. And we keep those TV memories alive. Okay, so this is Picostanis with TV Oblivion. This is episode 4, season 1. And everyone have a good day. And here comes the ending theme song, which is Pick and Pluck. I love this. So take care, everybody. Bye-bye.